Call the meeting to order. For those who may not already be aware, Governor Cuomo has lifted the state-imposed emergency declaration as of June 25th. Public attendance at Board of Education meetings has been reinstated. Regular business meetings will continue to be live streamed. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm going to bring our guests in.
Okay. At this time, I am going to give the oath of office to newly elected and re-elected trustees, and that would be Rhonda Williams and Tammy Tweedy. Mr. Bodine has already taken his oath of office on May 20th. Please answer I do to the following question. Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of the Office of Board of Education Trustee?
I do.
If you will sign right there, please. Thank you. At this time, I will take nominations for Board of Education President.
I'd nominate Rhonda Williams.
And if there are no further nominations, I will say that that's closed. Okay, and Kevin, you made that?
Yes.
Who seconded that?
Al.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And at this time, I will give Mrs. Williams her oath of office.
Thank you.
Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of the Office of Board of Education President?
I will.
So if you just sign right there. Okay?
Thank you.
You're
Thank you,
welcome.
everyone.
And I will turn the meeting over to Mrs. Williams.
Let's see here. Okay, at this time, I will ask for nominations for Vice President of the Board of Education.
I'll second it.
Do we have any further nominations? Do we have a motion to accept Kevin Charles as Vice President? Sorry, I wasn't sure if we needed the second one. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
And at this time, I will give Mr. Charles his oath of office. Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of the Office of Board of Education Vice President?
I do.
Okay. For the reorganizational meeting, consent agenda. And Tammy and Al, if you have any questions, or anybody, if you have any questions on these, just let me know. We have the appointments of officers and others. A long list of those. We have the designations of the official bank depositories, the official newspaper, and official printers. We have the authorizations for the 2021 school year, or I'm sorry, 21-22 school year. We have the credit card authorizations for the 21-22 school year.
I just have one question about the credit cards.
Sure.
The Exxon fuel card, I think we used to have an Exxon station in Walton. Are we still using that? Because now we have Sunoco. Exxon used to be a big M, but I don't know what we used to.
If it's anything like the town, and I think the county as well, they're fuel cards that you can use but at any gas station. So we have WEX cards, and you can use them anywhere, and it's just basically, the credit card.
Card.
Right.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if, that was kind of a fleet card.
Yeah, and same thing with Voyager.
Okay.
Voyager, the town used to have Voyager, and then we went with the WEX because of the country store wasn't accepting Voyager at the time. So that might be why they went with the Exxon.
And no fees added because it's not their store card, you know what I mean? Like when you do a bank ATM and it's not your bank, sometimes you get a $3. So we're not accruing charges like $3.
Correct.
Correct. No.
Correct.
Thank you.
And we have the standard workday resolution for the 21-22 school year. The recommended committee and their appointments. We have the fee rates and bonding. And none of these have changed from the prior year, the fee rates.
The
Right?
only one, there was one that changed. It changed mid-year last year. It was the non-certified teaching rate. Went to
Oh, that's right, $90, yep. The petty cash funds, the extenuating circumstances, impartial hearing officer, correcting and refunding erroneous taxes, the 403B designee, the CSE, CPSE committees, and that is all of them. Do we have a motion to accept the consent agenda for the reorg?
I'll move it.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. I think I skipped any. All right, so at this time, I'll ask for a motion to move from to close the reorganizational meeting and move to the regular business meeting.
Make a motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. You're all set? Okay. I'll call the regular meeting to order. And once again, if the community members may view our meetings live on the district's YouTube channel. And if anyone has any questions or comments, they may still continue to email the BOE at waltoncsd.org or by calling the district clerk at 607-865-4116, extension 6130, or by coming and attending our meetings. So we have the approval of the minutes from June 15th, 2021. Do we accept those minutes as submitted? Second?
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. We have the approval of the minutes from June 21st. Do we accept that as submitted?
Move it.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And we have the approval of the CSE, CPSE recommendations. And Tammy and Al, if there are ever any questions on the CSE or CPS recommendations, we can table that, bring that into executive session, because we are talking about student matters. and then we would bring it back out. So if at any time you do have any questions, just let us know and we'll pull it. So if there are no questions, do we have a motion to accept that report as submitted?
Make a motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right, and we have guests, but I don't believe we have any public comments. We will wait on that. Discussion items. The first on the discussion is the New York State School Board's annual conference, October 24th through the 26th in New York City. I think our question needs to be, will we all attend, or would we like to do the attorneys Hogan and Sarzinski legal retreat? Actually, it can be a number of topics with them.
We can send out a topic generator among the board as well.
So what is the pleasure of the board?
I'd be more comfortable with a retreat, yeah, because, I mean, rather than staying multiple nights down in New York City Metro. Whatever the pleasure of the board.
Maybe give it one more year?
I agree with Paul.
Okay, guys, I'll agree. I was the only one who was willing to go, so I'll stay home with you and retreat.
All right. Everybody's,
Last time, there's a few reasons crossed out, so that's not one.
all right, so we're all okay with that?
Yeah.
All right, so if we could, get on their schedule and see what they have to offer.
Yep.
I'll
work between the two firms. I'll work between our labor relations group and Hogan Sarzinski. It'd be a nice way for the board to get to know both new firms
Right.
as well, early
Yep.
fall. And I'll see what they've kind of got, and then I'll send out a topic generator if we've got some choices of where we want to focus.
Okay.
Okay?
All right, sounds good. Well, the annual meeting for the New York State School Boards will be held virtually on October 18th, so we will need to appoint a delegate and an alternate for that meeting. And I think that is later in the agenda, so
Correct.
we can start thinking about that. And the advisory committees, are there any changes? Did everybody have a chance to look over the advisory committees? And if there's no changes on that, then the open positions, the emergency appointments, would you like to touch on that?
Absolutely. So, with tonight and then our next meeting, third week of August, we have a significant gap and we still have some open positions we'll have to move on. So, although, the authority is extended to me and there are extenuating circumstances, I know these are here, so I want to bring to your attention and get your blessing to move forward with emergency appointments on these 4 positions as they come in. We think we've got the mechanic bus driver we should have done in the next few days. Social worker in the next 2 weeks. Director and coordinator still working on it to the end of the month. Health aid, we've got like 20 applicants to put through a process. So depending on how much of a leave that they need from their current positions, it's hard to hold till August and have somebody who can't join us until the middle of September or later. So that's why it's important to move on those. So unless you're opposed, those 4 positions I'll move after the complete packet and my approval on the packet. I'll move to a emergency appointment for each.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Everybody's okay with that?
All right. Thank you.
Alrighty. Correspondence. We have the trap shooting team thank you letter, which I thought was very nice. They did very well. I'm glad to see the kids participating in that. And then
Yep.
we have the state aid review.
Received this last week, thought it was important to bring forward. This is something that was discussed at the board and requested at the board level, and this is the result of that review. You can see we've increased our aid and transportation aid 52,000. So, and again, it's not a cause of an error. It's a cause of a different way of looking at how you code the various aids. So, it definitely was a positive action for us to take. It will pay off over in the long term. So, wanted to share this communication back to the board for your information.
And just moving forward, each year it'll be put on the SD3 under the
Absolutely.
proper code, so.
Yep, and we were able to go
That'll be-
back. We were able to pick up this current year.
Oh,
So
nice.
it immediately had some impact for us.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you to Meg for doing that as well. I know that wasn't easy going through all the
Yeah, I
ST3
just get to
codes
report
and-
out the good news. She had to do other work.
She had to do all the legwork, so we appreciate that. All right, are there any additions to the agenda?
We do not have any additions to the agenda. I would like to bring something to the board's attention, though, regarding the regular meeting consent agenda items. Because of the way Board Docs is set up, I cannot have two separate consent agendas within the same meeting. So therefore, all of the consent agenda items are just an action item, and after the meeting, if it's all right with you, I will go back in and duplicate that resolution throughout the rest of the items.
Okay. Sorry that you have to do that.
Well, otherwise you have to wait for me to finish.
Thank you, Lauren.
All right. Okay, so the consent agenda, we have the disposal of records. And this is an annual record disposal resolution that comes up. We have the declared surplus. And to accept the MOA retiree employment. And this is for Karen Fletcher coming back and helping out to get,
Wendy Miller.
thank you, totally lost Wendy Miller up to speed on that, so thank you, Karen, for that. The award of the milk and ice cream bids, the approval of the free and reduced price policy information, approving the 75 summer hours, and that would be for Pam Didazio. And then we have a personnel resignation for part-time food service helper Sonia Bacchus. We have an unpaid leave of absence for Sierra Birdsell.
You missed H.
Hmm?
You missed H, the appointments.
For the-
No, that's Jen.
Oh, Jake, yeah, my H is,
It's different on,
Yeah.
I think it
what's
is.
yours?
Personnel, resignations, and retirements.
Yep.
Well, that's spooky, isn't it? It's not me, you're looking at it too.
I am.
Corey, that's like really spooky.
Yes, we have H as, for Sonia,
You follow yours, that's what everybody's
Resignation.
got.
and then we have a personnel unpaid leave of absence for Sierra Birdsell. Then J, on your agenda here, we have the personnel appointments. And,
These are consent appointments.
yep, these are all the consent appointments. And then the personnel approval substitute roster. And that is it. Are there any questions on the consent agenda? Anyone need any additional information?
Other than the letters not matching.
We can
I've
explain.
Apparently just mine.
No,
Well,
I
you
did the
guys-
same one.
Well, okay,
Yeah.
so
Join
it's
the meeting?
Yeah.
somebody,
Wow.
Well, they're in different order under new business.
Yeah.
wow.
All right. No questions? Do we have a motion to accept the consent agenda? Second?
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right, new business. A, designating voting delegate and alternate. And this is for the annual meeting on October 18th, and that will be held remotely. Do we have,
The delegate.
You gonna do
I
it
guess
on that?
I'm the delegate.
I'll take myself out of the running.
All right. Does anybody want to be an alternate, just in case I,
Sounds like Paul.
it wasn't too bad, but
Sounded like Paul to me.
Paul?
No? Thank you. I appreciate the vote of confidence.
You're welcome.
Any other volunteers?
Kevin?
All right.
Great.
He didn't say no, so Kevin's our
Seconded.
delegate.
Kevin?
Kevin, you'll be our delegate? All right, do we have a motion to accept the delegate and the alternate, Rhonda and Kevin?
I'll move it.
Second?
Or second. it.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
You're welcome.
It actually wasn't too awful bad. Okay, the approval of the biennial review for the district shared decision making. Do we have a motion to accept that as submitted?
I'll move it.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Do we have new dates on those yet, or no?
For next year?
Yeah.
Not yet.
Okay. And award bond council bid.
This is,
And this is Oric, Harrington, and Sutcliffe.
so, I guess I just have a question. I mean, we're awarding a bid, and I get it that Hogan and Straczynski doesn't do representation for bonding matters and things like that. We're calling it a bid. Did we solicit from any other
It's-
person, like an RFP or anything?
No, it's an appointment. It's not a bid.
Is that language kind of
Mhm.
confused me? Is there, I understand that they work with Hogan and Straczynski, but this is something that Whiteman is doing for us now. Is there a reason that we need to deviate from them at this point, or just for
They-
this year, maintain the continuity and maybe go out next year with something?
We could do it either way. Hogan and Straczynski is willing to work. They've never worked with Robert's firm, but they're more than willing to work with any bond counsel. As I asked Meg to reach out and find out other districts, the minute we found out they didn't do it, use, and this was overwhelmingly the group that they've used. It happened to be that that's also a group that Meg has had experience with. So I didn't go back in the records to see who our bond counsel was when we were with Hogan prior to leaving Hogan in the past. But Robert was our bond counsel just for the few years that he was that
Right.
they were our attorneys. But like, as I said, in my email, neither Meg nor I have any issues with maintaining WH, if that's what the board's liking is, or whether we want to move it so that it's with the firm that our new law firm is familiar with. Either way.
Well, and Whiteman, Osterman, and Hannah is currently doing a RAN for us right now.
A ban.
A ban,
They're
yes.
finishing that. That'll be closed on the 13th.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's
Yep.
somebody that, they do have experience with that. I think Hogan's office would be able to work with anyone.
Yep.
I
Which
think
they
they
have
would be
said.
very accommodating with that.
Yep. We did discuss it with them when we found out the differences, and they said, whatever we're comfortable with as a district, they're comfortable with.
And that's it. These are all professional firms.
Absolutely.
They're going to interact with one another
Yep.
in that fashion, so.
I agree with you, though, Paul, that I would like to keep a relationship with WOH.
And
if
it's not just
possible.
that, I mean, it's just it's not the outcome, it's the process that I would like to see, rather than reach out to one that necessarily, kind of cherry pick, more understand kind of the universe of firms out there who do it, and maybe make it a more open process next year. So that's all.
But there's no concerns on our end.
Okay. What is the board's pleasure?
Very good.
I'm in the same boat. With Paul. especially if there's no underlying issues.
Nope.
And I think he hit it on the head that there's a, I guess, advertise it, RFP, like we typically do, and it just,
I mean, it's not something we do all the time, thankfully.
Right.
But, you know, it's one of those things we want to be comfortable and familiar, and we've got, you know, some changes with regard to board representation this year. And this is an area of the law that they wouldn't be able to serve the district, so some continuity, and again, they're working on something now, and then next year we can reevaluate.
Mhm.
And just based on the principles of, we've been putting out RFPs for these services, just for consistency purposes, it makes the best sense from a policy standpoint.
So we'll bring this back. Well, I don't know, we need to have one on record.
I could appoint them.
We
Yeah,
can
let's,
appoint them
if we
now.
could appoint them now, then we can detail out the details as far as the costing that
Mhm.
WH typically does.
Right,
Don't know whether or not it's, because before it was underneath their same legal services by hourly outside of retainer fee. So whether that maintains, now we're outside the contract, we'll enter into an agreement under that.
okay.
So I'll reach out to Robert and work through that.
Okay,
detail.
And unless it's alarmingly high, if things swing one way or other, bring it back to our attention and we can deal with it at that point, but.
Yep.
You know, it's not a blank check, obviously.
Okay, so everyone's in agreement to make the change to award the bond counsel to Whiteman, Elsterman, Hannah for the 21-22 school year?
If it requires a motion, I'll make it, yeah.
Okay, second?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
But I'd also like to
Thank you.
echo what Graydon just said, it's not a blank check. For some reason, it comes back really screwy, then
Well, I've got
We'll bring that
a
up, okay.
comparison here.
Yeah, we've
Okay.
got comparables.
Yeah.
I don't foresee it, but if for some,
Right. All right. Approval of the Delaware County to collect taxes. And you'll notice that they did include one additional day, September 16th,
Right, as discussed,
from
yep.
10:30 to 4. So they will be collecting at the Village Hall September 16th, September 28th, and October 28th. Do we have a motion to accept that agreement?
I'll move it.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And that's something too that we can, look at. I know Meg had gathered information, but maybe if we have more time, we can look at that as well for another year, is putting it out there. Now, I know we checked Wayne Bank, Community Bank, and the Delaware County, but are we allowed to have tax collection be done at the credit union? I know we can't bank with the credit union, but can we have tax collection done in that lobby? Maybe that's something that we can look at as
Definitely
well.
look at. I think once we get past the COVID restrictions and everything that went under, revisiting that, we may get some different willingness to partner on that as
Right.
well. Because that was also part of the restrictions. Nobody wanted to increase traffic to their lobbies at the time.
I just think it would be nice to have it done within, the village limits at the very least. So people aren't traveling to Delhi to pay their taxes or having to mail it. They can just stop in. All right, external audit letter of agreement. Are there any questions on that? If not, do we have a motion to approve that agreement with D'Arcangelo and Company?
Motion.
Second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Put that on the ledge there.
Opposed?
I was thinking of the
All right, and we are up to F, Appoint Policy Advisory Committee. Do we have a motion to appoint Policy Committee?
Would you like me to read those?
Sure, or I can, yep. Sorry, I should do that. Policy Advisory Committee for the 21-22 school year. Kevin Charles, Graydon Dutcher, Paul Wood, present as alternate.
As long as Paul reads them, I'll make that motion.
Second,
Second on both ends.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
You do a good job.
Appoint Curriculum Advisory Committee. This is for the 21-22 school year. Al Badine, Miranda Grossman, Tammy Tweedy, present as alternate, high school principal, middle school principal, elementary school principal.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Appoint Finance Advisory Committee. Rhonda Williams, Paul Wood, present as alternate, school business manager. Okay.
Does that also have the vice president on that one typically too, or not? Seems like I remember being
That was
three on that.
audit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Last year, it's been only the two, Rhonda and I. There's
Yeah.
room for one more.
We're gonna have
Based
one
on
more.
interest.
Rhonda's already on it, you can't be the alternate.
Nope.
Why put that vice president as alternate? Be the trail.
You good with that?
Whichever, yeah.
And can we change school business major to manager?
No,
Okay.
No,
school-
no, it says manger. It should say manager.
Oh, manger.
Yeah.
Don't have me as the proofreader.
Now we have the English major on.
All right, so with that change of the vice president as an alternate, do we have a motion to approve that?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Appoint Facility Advisory Committee. For the 21-22 school year, we have Kevin Charles, Graydon Dutcher, Rhonda Williams, School Business Manager.
Did you take me off that and I didn't know?
We did, based on your,
Okay, based on my feedback?
right, based on
Okay.
your
Based on feedback.
response.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
It was great working with you guys, so I gotta go somewhere I gotta understand now.
All right,
I'll make
we
a
have another
motion.
committee for you.
No, hold on. Again,
Okay.
we have the thing with
President is alternate.
Rhonda's there and also the alternate.
So,
That doesn't
Well,
work.
I think it's just, she had put that in there, but,
That was as a placeholder. I didn't know he was going to be president.
yep.
Okay.
So we can't have more than 3 board members on a committee, though.
Correct.
Three of us filled out those responses back with a primary and a secondary, and everybody else picked like 3 primaries on those, and I think it was a little confusing as to how we filled those out potentially.
and I couldn't even get on it,
Yeah.
so that's.
I saw that myself, I believe, Tammy and Kevin, there's like 3 of us did a primary and then a secondary and didn't pick a third because I thought that was only a primary and secondary option, but I'm more comfortable
I put
in
all
staying where I'm
my
at.
favorites.
Yeah.
I put all my favorite ones as the least ones I liked on it, so they reached out to me and they're like, you usually love curriculum, what do you, and I'm like, oh, I read it wrong, okay, so I went back and did it.
And what happened with you, Paul, was it was set for Walton. So you went on with now with the Walton Gmail?
I thought I was using that one.
I don't think so. That's the only
Okay.
setting that would have made sense, but we'll make sure in the future
I
to
don't know,
have
I was
those
trying
wide
to do it
open.
on my
So I
iPhone,
just-
so it could have defaulted on,
Could've
but I was
default.
taking screenshots and sending it to her, I'm like, I really am trying here.
I guess my point was if any of these committees, structures, if somebody,
Right.
just speak up, because I don't think it was a perfect
Right.
process, that's all.
Nope.
Right.
So we have 3 on that one. Do we have a motion on that?
No, do we have a motion to approve the facilities?
I'll move it.
advisory? Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right, we have personnel emergency appointment, Sierra Carlin. This will be for the science teacher. And do we have a motion to accept that emergency appointment?
I'll move it.
Second?
Second.
All, is it Tammy? All in
Tammy.
favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And we have a personnel resignation of Sierra Carlin. And that is a matter of formality that we had to do the 2 of those because we made the appointment through WTA.
Right, there was an agreement, a previous agreement, so we honored our agreement, but subsequently the employee has chose to resign and move on. which we wish her the best.
Yes. So do we have a motion to accept that resignation?
Move it.
Second?
Sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right, and then we have personnel appointments. Taylor Wood, teacher aide. Catherine Hoffmeister, school counseling, no, school, social worker, sorry. Melanie Hector, elementary principal. Ashton Johnson, school media specialist. And Justin Preston will be appointed as athletic director through July 31st. Do we have a motion to accept those appointments?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Welcome, Melanie.
Welcome. Congratulations.
Appreciate you making the trip today. Would you like to introduce who's?
This is my partner, John.
Okay.
Nice to meet you.
So if you could stick around after, I need to get a quick picture because I'm going to be doing a communication out tomorrow, introducing you to the community and to the school. Okay?
And I don't know if you can see all of our name tags, but I'll just have you start there, Tammy.
I'm Miranda Grossman, and this is my third year on the board.
Oh, Wood.
Rhonda Williams.
You know me.
Graydon Dutcher.
Kevin Charles?
Calvin, aye.
Welcome. We look forward to working with you. All right, we have another personnel approval, Sarah Nagy Fleischman, and this will be for additional duties for psychology services for the. No, this is.
Yes, I can only comment on that.
Yeah.
If
2021,
you
right?
recall, earlier in the year, we had the contract come through for additional psychological services to assist the psychologist with getting through. That contract fell through. The gentleman would not come. Sarah stepped up and put in 85 hours outside of her contractual day to make sure that we were in compliance with the school district. So this is compensating her for that time. It's still well beneath the contracted rate that we set.
Mm-hmm.
So for us, it was
Savings.
it was a savings. However, with some of the adjustments such as social worker and load adjustments and some other things that we're going to look at for balancing, my intention is that we don't need a contracted services, and that two, we never have somebody having to step up of this nature. That's a lot of extra work that she did. So I applaud her for that and thank her for that, and this is compensating her for her time.
Mm-hmm. And as well as Catherine Hoffmeister.
Yep, and that's
For
2 days
2
for
days.
SEL, and that's if that occurs. That may end up having a hard time putting everybody together. We may move that to the fall. But if we do get the team together to develop an SEL curriculum, we want the social workers to be part of that. They're key.
Okay. So,
Make a motion.
second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. So yes, thank you, Sarah, for doing that. All right, regular meeting, old business, appointments of officers and others. So we are going to change the bond counsel to Whiteman, Osterman, Hannah. Yep,
Yeah, and then welcome, Melanie. Here's a couple
Yeah.
more jobs.
yep. Melanie, we have a homeless coordinator and 3 through 8 testing coordinator.
And Corey, that's actually a 3-5 testing
3-5,
coordinator.
okay.
Yeah, elementary.
It won't let me change.
We'll add
so
other,
I-
things as we move along.
Okay,
Okay.
So
That's that fine print, other duties as assigned. I have it too.
3-5, yep, testing coordinator.
Okay, just let me finish that.
Sure, no problem.
We'll have a 6-8 later at another with Adam Hoover
Oh, okay.
in August.
Okay, and who made that motion?
We didn't do that yet. Do we have a motion?
I'll move it.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. right. And then we need approval of the committees. And let's see.
And Corey, if I'm right, this is replacing some of the TBDs with actual personnel on the committees.
Yep.
Yes, correct.
So again, Melanie, welcome. We have District Safety Committee, Health Advisory Council, District Incident Team, Audit Committee, and that was a Board of Education Trustees. We have Links Team, Teaching Assistant Program Committee, and the AIDS Advisory Committee.
And for some reason, it is not letting me make those changes. So I will write them down and I'll make them after the meeting.
Okay, so again, that was in our reorg where it said TBD.
Correct.
We're just filling those names now in after the
So
approval.
the District Safety Committee.
Yeah.
We have, would it be both Miranda Grossman and Alvedine, or just one?
It can be both.
It can be,
both, absolutely.
are both of you willing to serve on that?
Yes.
That meets once a month?
Once a month.
Yep, once a month, and it's informational based more than action based, but the committee needs to be listed on the state documents. So it'd be good to have the complete committee listed.
Yes, I accept that. Thank you.
Okay.
You're not required to be at all
Yes.
meetings.
Okay.
And then the other one,
Audit Committee.
Audit Committee,
Paul
There's
Wood.
Yep.
And then the AIDS Advisory Committee will be Miranda Grossman.
correct, yep.
And that, there was a note in there, like, we're evaluating whether or not that committee needs to exist going forward.
Yeah.
Not we,
Right.
council, because that's one that's just been on. the-
Correct. It
Yep.
was established a long time ago.
In the policy, weren't they changing the name to that?
What's that?
Weren't they changing the name?
No,
Under policy?
Yeah, I thought the advisory committee, I thought it was more encompassing.
it was a requirement that was established a long time ago,
Right.
and we have a policy on it.
Yeah.
But beyond that, I don't know that we've ever done it.
It seems like I remember the policy, was trying to steer everybody to a more encompassing, so it wasn't so narrowly focused. It was
Just
more,
on-
Could be.
on one.
more of, outbreaks and more things like that. But maybe something to revisit.
Yeah, we're
Dr.
not-
McDonald said he was gonna check on it.
Yeah, I'm gonna reach out to council, and this will be their first task for us.
All right, so
Yes, on
do,
the AIDS Advisory Committee is, Ms. Hector and myself.
correct, if we find out that we do need that advisory committee again.
You're not the only members.
Oh, okay.
These are
Just for just being added to it, I'm like, oh.
Correct.
we're both-
no, there's a full committee, but they were
Okay.
TBDs in the reorg.
Gotcha.
So now.
Thank you. I was just looking at that like, wow, okay, we can both have it.
All right, so do we have a motion to accept those committees?
I'll move it.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
I,
Opposed? Carried. All right, adopt policy second reading. And that is,
Policy number 100, equal opportunity and non-discrimination, second reading. And policy 115-E, DASA complaint form exhibit.
all right. Do we have a motion to accept these as our second reading?
Move it.
Second?
Yep.
All in favor?
I,
Opposed? Carried. All right, and you've received Tracy Williams and John Jackson's supervisor remarks. And we are up to superintendent remarks.
Okay, just a couple quick updates. Driver ed, we did have 18 students interested. We'll see how many come through. BOCES was able to get an instructor. The instructor
nice.
is instructing on site in the morning in Oxford and then in the afternoon at Walton. And then the students, we're still under COVID protocols for driver ed, so students will be driving with their parents and guardians for their driving hours. It's the way the state authorized it in the past, last year and this year. So that is happening. The instructor was here today, so it's truly an instructor. We saw the person, so we know we have one.
So we apologize to the parents.
Yes, they're gonna have to go driving with their kids. We're not gonna be able to take it off of their plate for them.
I always welcome driver ed, then, you know,
Exactly.
my kids could learn from somebody else, you know?
Yep. We're meeting in the middle of this year.
Screaming.
Some parents, that's not a bad thing. if you let them.
And then the federal funding, just an update, our next step in that is we plan to have a spending plan on the web.
Okay.
As we discussed, no changes to that. We did receive some feedback that we've talked about in the past from a handful of individuals, a lot of staff members, and talking about SEL, mental health, special education. We had public comments regarding the generator, things of that nature. So everything that nothing new, nothing that was surprising, everything in the realm of what we've experienced. And we took all that into account in our communication in the past. So the plan will be up per federal regulation requirements, and we're moving forward. That's all I got.
All right, we do have a need for an executive session for discussing the employment history and future employment of a particular person. Do we have a motion to enter executive session? Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Okay,
All right.
so while you folks get lined up for your picture, I'm gonna
We need to.
add Melanie for her
have a
picture.
motion to come out
Oh,
of it.
yes, I'm sorry. All right. Yes, so it's anticipated that there will be no action after executive session. So at this time, I will ask for an adjournment from an executive session and a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll make the motion.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You say that with such happiness, Paul.
For pictures?
That's it. Sure.
Take your meeting like now.
I don't know if I turned that on.
Welcome, Melanie. Shake your hand, tap elbows, toe tap, whatever you do. Welcome aboard.